Alright everybody, what is up? Welcome back. We are back here now with another video, and when we left off in the second video, what we were doing was we were learning about extruding and insetting faces and stuff like that. We were learning the basic tools about extruding and insetting faces and stuff. So what we're going to talk about now is we're going to talk about loop cuts. Okay, so when we add a loop cut, what it does is it gives us extra geometry to be able to to be able to model more into our object. So for instance, if you look over here on the toolbar that we have here where we got our inset faces and stuff, okay, we have our loop cut here. Okay, if you click on the loop cut here and you bring your mouse over to the object, now you see that the object has a yellow line around it. Okay, this is telling us now, okay, so this is where I'm going to place the loop cut. We can left click and then left click again, and as you can see, we have put our loop cut in, and once we've put our loop cuts in, we can actually go and move them around depending on where we want to actually move our loop cuts. So this tool will give you a loop cut. I don't like using this because it's kind of buggy and it kind of breaks up a bit and adds too many loop cuts. So what I like to do is I like to actually go and use the shortcut key, which is Control R. So if I press Control R on my keyboard, I get the exact same thing. As you can see, I now have my loop cut. If I press left mouse now, and if I move it now, I can move it to wherever I want. And what that's doing is that's adding more geometry. So it's adding more vertices and it's adding more edges for me to be able to model. So for instance, if I was to drop this here, okay, and say if I wanted to make this cube have like a slanted roof, I could simply just from my edge loop here, I could simply go to edge mode, click on this edge, and now what I can do is I can move this up, and now I have my slanted roof. As you can see right now at the moment, I have my slanted roof. So now I can start to model the roof out. So for instance, if I wanted to bring the roof of this a bit more out, I could go to face select mode, select this face, and then I could go shift select this face, and then what I could do is I could actually press E and I could extrude them up a bit, and then I could press S to scale them, and I could scale them out a bit, and then I could just move them down a bit. And now what I've ended up with is I've ended up with kind of a roof that kind of looks a bit kind of bricked out and stuff like that. And again, you could select this edge here and shift select this edge here, and again what you could do is you could press E and you could extrude them down like so, and then you could press like S and extrude them out, and then bring it back a bit. And as you can see, you're kind of getting the idea of where you could add and build to roof and stuff, and that's all because we had this little edge loop here, that we could actually manipulate and edit when we wanted to edit it. So we could, obviously this is going to make a mess of it, but yeah, by adding that edge loop, what we've actually done is we've actually went and given it more geometry for us to work with. Similar to this edge loop here, we could actually, edit that out if we wanted to, our house to kind of go in a bit or whatever like that, So by adding edge loops, it allows us to, edit the geometry as well. So if you press Control R on your keyboard, as you see, you get an edge loop. If you roll your middle mouse wheel forward, you can add edge loops or you can remove edge loops depending on what you want. And you can just decide what you want for your model. Left click again to drop them into place. And then now you have like, now we've two more faces here that we can actually, extrude out, and then we can actually kind of like, scale up and then extrude out again if we wanted to. And we could kind of go along and we could kind of work along the lines of that and stuff, and we could kind of get an idea of what way we want to edit it and stuff like that, and that's simply by just adding our edge loops there, and we have various ways of actually adding edge loops. So for some reason I'm after getting a weird menu, the weird icon up here. I probably clicked one of these tools when I was doing whatever, but however I'm going to start off with a new general file anyway, because I didn't do too much on that, you know. So let's go and let's make a simple glass. Okay, so first of all, what I want to do is I want to be in face select mode. Press number 3 on your keypad, or you can press this little icon up here, and I want to left click and select this face. And what I want to do is I want to press delete on my keyboard. So I want to press delete on my keyboard, and I want to delete the face. Okay, so delete on my keyboard and face. Now that's after deleting the face from the top of the cube here itself. Okay, so now in order for this to be able to bend in when I use a modifier, which I'm going to use in a second, what I need to do is I need to add some geometry to it. Okay, so going into edit mode, so I can press tab on my keyboard, go into edit mode, or I can click up here and go into edit mode, or I can actually click the modeling tool itself to bring me into edit mode. Now what I can do is I can add 2 loop cuts. Okay, so I want to add 2 loop cuts. I want to add one at the top and one at the bottom. Okay, so if I wanted to add a loop cut by using this menu, I could actually click this here, or I can press Control and R. So Control R will give me a loop cut. I'm just going to left click, and then I'm going to move my mouse and slide it up to here. Then I'm going to press Control R again. I'm going to left click my mouse, and then I'm going to down to here. So I've added 2 loop cuts. Okay, so this is going to give me a bit of extra geometry when I use the modifier. Okay, so I have my box, I've deleted my face, and I've added 2 loop cuts, the one at the top and one at the bottom. Okay, and what I like to do is I like to first off, I like to add a solidify modifier to give it a bit of extra thickness. Okay, so now what we're talking about modifiers, was we're talking about a specific a specific thing to edit the actual mesh itself. So we have specific modifiers, and we've a whole lot of different modifiers, but the ones we're going to look at today is we're going to look at solidify modifier and then the subdivision surface. So as you can see right now, we have our cube as it is. Now in order to add our modifiers, we simply go over to this wrench icon. Okay, so we have our wrench icon over here on this bar on the left hand or the right hand side, and this is our modifier, it's our properties. And all we simply do is we just go add modifier. Now as you can see, you have a whole load of different modifiers, and we will go into some of these modifiers themselves in other videos, but for now what we want to do is we want to actually look for the solidify. So we're looking in the generate, and we're looking for solidify. It's down in the bottom, it's the 4th one from the bottom. So generate, solidify, and what the solidify modifier does is it actually gives us a bit of thickness. You can't really see it now at the moment, but if I actually work on this tab over here, which is the thickness, if I actually keep clicking that, you can see now that the object is getting a bit thicker. So as you can see, the object's getting a bit thicker now at the moment. Now to hide a modifier, so you can have a look. If you were doing something else and you wanted to, if you wanted to have a look at it without the modifier, you can simply just go and click this little button here, and what we'll do is it will hide the modifier for you, so you actually won't see it. So it'll hide the modifier, you won't see it, and then you can click this little button that looks like a TV and go back again and get an idea of what the modifier is actually doing. And you can play with the thickness, and you can actually get the modifier, different thickness and stuff. So basically, I'll go 0.6 on here, and no, actually, I go 0.2. There we go. I go 0.2, and I'll make it a bit thicker like that. So now we have that a bit thicker there. Okay, so what we can do now is we can add another modifier. We can stack modifiers on top of each other, but the modifier that we want to you know, that we want to actually be used, that we want to actually see, has to be on top. So we're going to go into modifiers again, add modifier, and then subdivision surface. Now when we add the subdivision surface, it's going to make our object look really weird and funny, you see. So a subdivision surface now, what it's done is it's actually made our object look weird and funny. Now, as you can see, it's actually turned and it's actually bent around our mesh object itself, you see. So right now at the moment we have the subdivision surface there, but we still have the ability to edit the object itself. So for instance, if we are on this face, as you can see, we can edit the object itself, further edit it, because we haven't applied the modifier yet. The modifier is just stuck there, it is not applied. So as you see, now I've moved the subdivision up and the solidify down, it's much fatter now. But as you can see, our modifier is still there. Again, we can turn off our modifiers by clicking the little TV icon, so we can see what it's going to look like with or without it. But the modifiers are there, which allows us to edit the you know, stuff itself. So as you can see, we can actually go and edit our stuff. So for instance, if we wanted to kind of tighten up the edge a bit, we could select this edge here, and this time if we press Alt and left click, we can actually select all of the edge. So if we click one part of the edge and then we hold Alt on our keyboard and left click, we can select all of the edge. And as you can see, we can tighten up the edges by moving that, you see. So we have a bit of extra geometry to work with, you know, and gives us a bit of extra geometry. So right now at the moment, we have our modifier installed. So if we look at our subdivision surface modifier, we have subdivisions, okay? The subdivisions are going to make it look a lot more sharper. So for instance, render onto, when you render this out in an image, what's going to happen is it's going to actually show you that of 2. If you look in the viewport, if you click it up in the viewport, you see that when you click it up to 2, it makes it look a bit better, and 3 makes it look a lot better. The higher that is, the better it makes it. But then again, now you're getting into the whole aspect of adding more geometry. So for instance, if you look at this here, okay, now I'm just going to go into the layout mode for the moment. If you look at this now, when we had A vertices and stuff like that, and we had all our basic stuff, now if you look down the bottom, we've 16 vertices now, we've 13 faces, and we've 26 triangles. So as you can see, we have a lot more geometry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a copy of this for the moment, okay? Now if you wanted it, I just want to show you when I apply a modifier. If you take a copy of this, which is Shift D on your keyboard, right? Shift D on your keyboard duplicates. Hold Shift and D and you get a duplicate of your object. And I'm just going to place it there for the moment. And on this object, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the subdivision surface modifier and the solidify modifier by just clicking apply. So I apply the solidify, I apply the subdivision surface. Now if we go into edit mode on this object, you can see now that right now what we have is we have a lot more faces, a lot more edges, and a lot more vertices. Actually quite a lot more, based on this one here, which is if I put that down at 2, and if I was to take like a duplicate of that as well, this would be low poly. And if I was to apply that and you look at it, as you can see now, that has a lot less than its high poly version over here. And this is less faces and vertices and stuff. And this is what you need to be careful of when you're modeling, because what you will want to do is you will want to create a high poly model, but then you'll want to bake normal maps onto a low poly model to get, so you'd bake normal maps onto a low, from high poly to low poly, so you would actually get this result here, this result here on this one, but it would be on a lower poly, but it will look like this. And that's more down the other videos as well, you know. But as you can see, yeah, by using, I'm just going to delete these, by using the subdivision surface, okay, and by using the the solidifying modifier, we can get a basic looking glass. But as you can see right now at the moment, this is over here because I moved it away. If you wanted to move this back into the center here, as you remember, we went to object and we went to snap, and then we snapped our cursor to world origin. Now what we want to do is we want to use this, which is we want to actually snap this to where the cursor is. So object, snap, selection to cursor, because our cursor is in the middle. Once we press that, now we are after getting our object back into the middle again. So now it's in the middle and we can continue on with it. So right now at the moment we have our subdivision surface and we have our solidify. I do apologize if my mic keeps going on and off. I have to cough and I don't want to cough in your guys' ear. So as you can see right now at the moment we have our basic glass, and now what we can do is we can just make it look a bit better. So if we actually right click, if we're back in object mode, okay, and we right click, we can go shade smooth. And when we go shade smooth, now what we get is we get a nice little glass, a nice little glass here, and that is, it's ready to go and it looks really nice. Now again, this has not too much geometry on it. Like, it's got 1922 vertices, 1920 faces, and 3840 triangles. So I mean, it's kind of it's a bit of a geometry, but it's nothing major. It's nothing wildly out there where it wouldn't be rendered, or it wouldn't be uploadable or whatever like that. What we're going to do in the next video is we're going to learn a bit more about editing and stuff like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually turn this little glass here into a pencil holder. So we're going to create some pencils for it, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put them into this. So if you've been following along, make sure to save your file. So how you do that is you go File, Save As, and see, the best thing about the Blender now, okay, is when you go to where you have your object saved, okay, if you come over here to the right hand side and you see this little drop down menu here, you can actually go from vertical list to horizontal list, or you can go to thumbnails, so you can see exactly what you're working with here. So as you can see, these are my blend files here. So I'm just going to save this as what will I save it as? Pencil glass. Okay, so we'll save it as a pencil glass. I know it's not a glass yet, but yeah, we'll save it as pencil glass. And what we'll do is we'll just go save as, and that's done is it's actually saved the blend file itself. Okay, so if I go and I open up Blender again, I apologize. Every time I save an object, my Blender crashes out. I think it's because it's just the Blender I'm using or whatever like that, so I might need to update it again to another daily build. But yeah, as you can see, it's back now, and I apologize for that going off. But if I wanted to open up my blend file, then I could just go File, and then I could just go Open, and then I could open up the blend file itself. And it didn't seem to save the blend file. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to actually recover that. But yeah, as you can see, my Blender is kind of going a bit weird, and it's going on and it's going off and glitching out and stuff. But I'll fix my Blender for the next video. And yeah guys, I apologize about that going off. But yeah, I have the file, I have saved it. If not, I'll just recreate it for the next video. And in the next video, what we'll do is we'll start putting some pencils into it, and we'll start making it look like a little pencil glass or cup that you'd find on a desk. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like and subscribe. Yeah, if you have any questions, make sure to drop them in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.